私が持てないのはどけないと前らが悪い。
Hello everyone, this is Greek Kid in Abacadabra. We're going to be reviewing Watamote today. Our channel, more at the end, we're going to talk about it. It's going to be not just reviews, we're going to do food, preferably from Japan, candy, and all of that kind of review, and maybe some vlogs. Anyways, today we're reviewing Watamote. First we're going to start with the plot. It's about a 15-year-old girl who's antisocial, who aspires to be popular in this show. But she rarely even attempts to talk to someone who wants to be popular. She is the living embodiment of a forever aloner. In my opinion, I believe the purpose the creators had in creating this show was to make it a simple but fun, cringe-worthy experience for the viewer, and I believe it passed with flying colors. There were multiple times when during an episode I would just look away in embarrassment, and we could only watch about an episode or two.
Yeah. It was pretty bad at some moments. I literally had to look away a couple times. It's just the feels. They were just a little too much in that show.
Yeah. We were multiple times in an episode we would look at each other for acknowledgement of not only how often she did not succeed, but she took not only one, but multiple steps back from where she started. Now we're going to talk about characters. First we're going to start off with Tomoko. Tomoko is a loner who wants to break out of her shell. What I liked about her are the scenes where she is actually daydreaming about random scenarios in her mind. This is where she pictures herself to be this pretty curvy moe version of herself. To me this feels like a realistic aspect of what happens in the real world. Maybe not to the extreme as she does it, but it is pretty realistic in the fact that when we daydream, normally for the most part we picture ourselves to be a better version of what we really look. We try to hide our blemishes in our mind, our pretty much downfalls and everything, insecurities. We put that aside. Likewise, on the opposite side, when she's depressed and thinking negative about herself, she pictures herself to be much uglier than what she really is. Kind of like how when we're depressed, we let our emotions sway our thoughts.
I would actually like to touch on the fact that she is built much differently than the other characters. She appears to be the shortest girl in the school that we've seen thus far. She's also extremely slender and has a boyish shape to her, especially for her age, with the inclusion of her boyish attire when you see her at home or out and about, just any time when she's not in her school uniform. She happens to be in clothes that you typically see a 10 to 12-year-old boy wearing. Yeah. Also, her facial features differ from the norm. She has really large, almost alien-like eyes. You can see a lot of the whites of her eyes, which isn't something that's very typical in anime characters that I've seen, unless they happen to be villains. She also has those bags under her eyes, which you only see her brother having the same thing. You don't see anybody else in the whole entire school.
Now we're going to talk about Tomoki. Except he is the younger brother to Tomoko, he seems to be more socially adept than she is, frequently going out and having his friends over. He also finds Tomoko to be vastly annoying. This kind of reminds me a lot of Orihimo and how Kyosuke found Kirino to be quite a nuisance, especially in the beginning of the series, and throughout.
The last character I'm going to touch on in this series is Yu. Yu is Tomoko's only friend dating back to middle school, where they used to geek out together on anime and video games. More recently, Yu has transformed into a curvaceous high school, what Tomoko has called throughout the series, bitch. I'm not sure why she refers to all the high school girls like that, but she does. What's notable about her features is, unlike Tomoko, she was able to just grow into more of a woman. Becoming everything that Tomoko aspires to be, which in turn intimidates Tomoko in a very extreme manner, causing her to freeze up and mute almost all of the time. But surprisingly, Yu doesn't seem to mind that Tomoko didn't really change at all. She seems to just genuinely like her a lot as a friend.
Yeah, I also like the fact that Yu will go and talk to her and help her out when she can, even where she's seems like Yu's oblivious to the fact that Tomoko's trying to break out of her shell, which adds more to her moe aspect.
Yu actually seems to look up to Tomoko and think that she's actually very cool.
Yeah, she does. Honorable mention for me goes to the homeroom teacher. Some of my favorite scenes are when him and Tomoko converse upon departure. It always gets me when he bids her farewell and she just stands there with an embarrassed look while forcing out some kind of mumbled goodbye as she jets off home. I don't know what he's thinking during these scenes, but I can only assume that he is a great teacher because he doesn't ever bring it up. He's like, oh my god, just do your best. And just like, I don't know, he's a great teacher. And I think there needs to be more scenes with him in it.
So now we're going to talk about art for just a minute. Aside from the main character, every other character appears to be drawn in a very, very generic style of anime, in my opinion. The backgrounds in the show are also very typical of this genre of anime, slice of life. In other words, they're minimalistic, simple, with a really simple, natural color scheme. In a sense, this art style fits the anime in that she's the only one that stands out in all of society. She really is the only one with those type of facial features. Her hair is in big chunks. It's not stringy and cute. She just looks a lot different than everybody else.
I also like the art in the opening.
The art in the opening, yeah, that did differ a lot from the anime itself. If you watch it, the line weight changes a lot. It's very angsty. It's definitely different than what the anime's drawn in. I actually like it. It seems like they took a lot more time doing that.
Tons of effort into the opening. Next we're going to talk about scenes that left a mark on us. The one scene in the whole anime that I still vividly remember is when she's on the train thinking she's being molested. During this time, she is losing her breath, cannot scream, and is frozen solid. This scene screamed cringeworthiness to me throughout the whole time. She's just looking around, looking for help, like, how can no one see that I'm being molested? Which is kind of funny because, if I recall correctly, before this scene, she wanted to be groped and molested.
Yeah, I recall her fantasizing about being molested on a train or a bus or something.
Yeah, similar. Anyways, when the train stops, she runs off the train and shouts that it's a molester, that she is still being molested and still pulling on her. Only to find out that it was a girl's bamboo stick or nigata, whatever you call it. This was the biggest moment for me where I physically felt embarrassed, as if I was there, witnessing the event happen. Because I honestly do not know what I would say, being her or just a passenger by. I'm like, oh my god, poor girl. But I also feel pretty embarrassed for the girl with the bamboo stick because she's kind of in the middle of it all, like, oh, what the heck did I do?
She actually didn't seem too bothered by it. She just said she was sorry.
Yeah. Must happen a lot for her. She's like, third time this week.
One that stuck out to me was actually in the beginning. During her outing to the infamous anime McDonald's, I cringed pretty bad when she tried to disguise herself in the bathroom and ran into Tomoki on the stairs. She just seemed to be too worried about being singled out, but in turn actually singled herself out a lot. And that face was just...
Yeah, that was a very, very sad scene for her. Especially when his friends were like, do you know her? He's just kind of staring at her like in disbelief, like, cannot believe you're doing this. Like, no, just walks away.
I felt like Tomoki was actually being really cool and doing her a favor. I'm not sure if he was embarrassed by it. I think he was actually...
Sure he was embarrassed.
Well, not as much as I think he was actually doing her a solid, like, oh, okay, I'll let you slide on this one. Because I think they have to know by now, all of his friends, that she's totally freaked out.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's okay.
And I kind of understand, like, I have a little sister and she definitely does a lot of annoying things like that. Maybe not to that extreme, but I know what he's going through.
If she ever did something to that extreme appearance-wise, though,
that'd be pretty
impressive. Would be pretty bad.
Next, we can talk about music. I found the opening to be rather interesting, as I was expecting a typical bubbly, upbeat song.
Yeah, I was too. I was actually going into this without knowing what it was about, because I didn't read about it first. He read about it, but I didn't know anything about the show before we started watching it. And I was expecting something along the lines of maybe Lucky Star or something like that. Just something really bubbly that doesn't make sense, just something cute. But it was a lot different than anything I've actually ever seen in an anime.
For an opening.
Especially with a girl. Especially about a high school girl. It's just something I haven't seen yet.
For that genre of music especially, yeah. But instead of getting that, what we got was this loud and aggressive song reflecting her inner turmoil. The ending was more typical in what you would find in this genre, aside from the fact we don't know what the lyrics mean. It was pretty upbeat, the ending. I kind of even liked the video where she's just moving around her iPod or iPhone.
Yeah, her phone, just moving it around. It was different. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't actually like the ending. I don't mean the song. The song was fine. I know we're talking about the music. The song was fine, but I didn't care very much for the animation.
Yeah,
I actually,
all simple.
I even like it better when shows will typically, I mean, some of them will just show pictures.
Pictures, yeah.
I kind of even like that better because it was so unoriginal and so boring.
What we're going to talk about next is what we enjoyed and not enjoyed about the show. What I enjoyed most about the series, believe it or not, is the fact that it had a lot of cringeworthy moments. It made me feel such feels that I have not felt before watching an anime. There has not been an anime I've watched that's given me so many moments where I just had to look away out of sheer embarrassment. In a good way, though. Like, it wasn't like so bad that like I just looked away like, oh, this is a piece of crap. Because it's not. It was actually a very enjoyable show, and that's what I enjoyed about it.
Actually, what I enjoyed is that the other characters seemed to show little to no concern for Tomoko's well-being, aside from the boy that bought her that umbrella, which didn't end well anyway.
No, the library.
Her own mother seemed to ignore Tomoko's antisocial behavior and almost encourages it in a passive-aggressive way. But what I didn't enjoy is Tomoko failed to rekindle her relationship with her brother. She didn't really show a true relationship with her mother either, or any relationships at all besides you. And I kind of feel like she just kind of used her just like out of desperation for some kind of social interaction.
Yeah.
I thought at some point they might start actually talking again, her and her brother, especially in the scene where Tomoko discovers the cicada shells.
Yeah, and she just drops it in this room, practically.
Yeah, that didn't really go, it probably didn't go how she planned either.
Yeah.
I think she actually intended for that to be nice and just kind of pissed him off.
Probably, yeah. It's like, what are you doing? 'Cause he's so used to her just being annoying.
I think she kind of dug herself too deep where she actually had to start being really nice instead of just doing little kind things.
Yeah. I like the fact when you mentioned like her mom, and she did help her get a job, even though it only lasted a day at that cake factory or whatever it was. That was great.
I honestly thought that she'd be okay with that kind of work because she doesn't like talking to people. And I mean, I didn't really want to ruin it too much, but it is only one tiny scene, so I don't know. I thought she'd be okay with that though. Mostly getting money, considering she's so addicted to anime and games. I figured she would have just stuck around just to get some cash.
Yeah. What I didn't like about the show is that Tomoko failed in every aspect of her life. This has me torn between liking and disliking the show. Because I love how it is original in the fact that she fails in every aspect. It does not have a generic feel-good ending where all of a sudden she can talk, become, have friends, become extremely popular in her school. Everyone's like, yeah, lifting her up. She's like, you're the greatest. She's athletic, Everything happens at the end. Luckily, it does not. But it annoys me to no end that she doesn't acquire any new friends. You would think that she would at least get one friend besides you. But even then, I don't know, since very different schools, she rarely ever hangs out with you.
Yeah,
I just don't have the time.
It's actually an interesting topic, and I mean, we don't mean to ruin that part of the show, but if you're thinking about watching it, you should probably hear this if it's not something you like.
Yeah.
So I expected her to at least gather a few acquaintances or have a crush on a boy or something like that, but she really just sits in a room.
Pretty much. Overall, I would give this anime a 6 out of 10. I believe it is worth watching once for all the cringeworthy moments that are in it, which will make you feel better about yourselves. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the show a lot. I just felt it was average at the most part. Didn't really have any wow moments for me. Kind of like other shows that we watch, like Azumanga, or in the same genre, or Lucky Star even. And that's what I believe. I mean, it's not 6 out of 10 is not bad in my book. It's worth watching. I think it's a very good show. Just not the greatest.
Well, yeah, when you look at the collective scale, technically a 5 would be average. So it is slightly above average, because it definitely has a difference. Now, actually, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. I'd actually just say it's average because even though the story is different, it has something different about it when it comes to slice of life, it's still nothing really wowed me. I can't really give it anything higher as there was not an actual ending, and I know that there's an OVA coming out, and I'll consider that separately, but as far as the series goes, I didn't enjoy seeing so many pitiful moments. I kind of expected her to have some enlightening moments in her life or something nice, but it seems like everything that she ever did was just totally disappointing, and nothing exciting actually happened.
I agree.
I know that's kind of like contrary to what I just said, but nothing actually exciting that you want to happen happens.
Oh, I understand. To me, this feels like a poor man's Welcome to the NHK in the fact that she's forever alone. She's trying to break out, but she doesn't. Whereas in Welcome to the NHK, he eventually does break out. And, well, I don't want to ruin that for people who have not seen it, so...
Well, I mean, if you look at it realistically, just in a realistic aspect, people would probably adapt slightly if they actually wanted to be friends with people. Effort. Even if it was just more interaction with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Just anything at all, even if it was just saying hi to somebody in class.
Which reminds me, I would actually give it a higher score, at least by half a point, if there was more scenes with the homeroom teacher, because I just liked them that much. I think they needed more scenes with him in it. Now, people who may like the show, I believe the people who would enjoy this series is first and foremost, if you're a fan of slice of life and the whole day-to-day activities, you're going to enjoy this. Now, if you're someone who's forever alone themselves and can take a joke and you see, can laugh at your own faults, you're going to really enjoy the show. Because this show has a lot of very facepalm, cringeworthy moments in this show. Now, someone who may not enjoy the show, someone who just, how do you say this? Someone who does not like that there is not really an ending. Like, if you see the first episode and the last episode, you're going to realize nothing really happens, nothing changed, everything stays the same. If you don't like that kind of thing, you're not going to enjoy the show because she will not learn, she does not learn. It literally is about a girl who does nothing, really. We hope you enjoyed the review. There's going to be more down the road. Right now, the winter 2014 shows are out, so we're going to pick and choose which ones we want to watch and review. You're going to see me, I know at least I'm going to do it. I'm going to eventually do a review on Ippo Rising. It's one of from the first 2 seasons, one of my favorite shows ever, so it might be a little biased. I'm going to do my best to be as subjective or objective as possible. Not
subjective as possible.
Yeah,
well, that sounds about right.
Yeah. It is I love Ippo, but besides the point. We may even do some shows that have already been out that we believe people that are very underrated, that people should watch. For example, like Usagi Drop.
Usagi Drop.
I think that's one of people should watch.
I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. We could definitely put that in. We're also thinking about watching new shows as they come out and giving you our first impressions of maybe the first quarter or the first half or even episode by episode if it's a really short series or if it's something that we're really interested in or if it's something that just really catches us and is really great or if it really catches us and it really sucks.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. The review of those ones.
Yeah, I don't know. There are some shows we really don't enjoy, which we might bring you reviews just on what we watched, even if we didn't finish it.
Gotta have a few rainy days to enjoy the sunshine.
Maybe we could talk a little bit about Little Busters or something.
Yeah, we should probably finish that.
I don't want to ever finish that.
We have to if we're going to review it.
I'll watch the last episode.
Now, some other shows that we want to touch up on that we believe people should watch be Princess Jellyfish.
Princess Jellyfish, definitely.
And were you planning on doing one of Precure eventually?
I want to do, well, there's a lot of different ones, but yeah, probably the newest one that's supposed to come out.
Oh, the anniversary?
The anniversary one. I probably will be watching that as it comes out.
Is it a movie or?
I'm pretty sure I don't know much about it.
Okay, we'll have to look into
We
it.
just got the information on it the other day, and I didn't read it.
Okay.
I honestly just looked at the videos and got excited and then stopped reading it and left the house.
Oh, nice. Well, we hope you enjoyed the the review, and there's gonna be more reviews to come. And it won't only be anime reviews. We'll review other things like Japanese candy, like we said earlier. If not, I believe we said earlier.
I believe we said it earlier. But we can also bring reviews on things that anyone would like to see.
Preferably not like 500 episodes.
Well, yeah. I don't know. We might not bring you a review of One Piece because we've never started it, so...
Yeah.
And I know people probably won't enjoy hearing that if they made it up to this point and are still listening to us.
Exactly.
But yeah, if there's any other products that you want to hear about too, I mean, we order a lot of random things from Japan just for fun.
Yeah, we love ordering random stuff.
And I don't limit it to Japan. Also Korea, I order a lot of things from there too.
Practically
So
anything. If it's interesting,
anything interesting you can bring to us.
yeah, we'll look into it and probably order it. As long as it's not like thousands of dollars.
True.
As much as that would be cool. Well, we hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.
Bye!